As hostilities escalate in Boston, the British Army answers with deadly force, and the only justice comes from a manslaughter conviction, punishable by branding and no jail time. The colonists are scared that the army can kill with impunity. The decision quiets the resistance for a time, but it's a fragile peace that hangs over the city.
Have you seen this? My dear cousin still calls it the Boston Massacre, even after the acquittals.
It will only take the slightest infringement to cause that spark to flare up again. And of course, it is the Tea Act, which demands that all the colonies purchase one kind of tea from one monopolistic vendor. And that then brings these passions that were latent back to the surface, and there will be no let up in them until it explodes in the revolution.
When Sam Adams and the Sons of Liberty hear that royal tea is in their port, they send a message to the king with a call to action.
Bring out taxes and tell King George we'll pay no taxes on his Tory tea.
Brethren, the Dartmouth and 2 other ships sit in anchor at our harbor. The cargo on those ships must not be unloaded. The moment it reaches those docks, we pay a tax. And we will not be paying a tax on British tea. Not on our watch. Will we, boys? To the harbor!
With the British troops still on high alert, the Sons of Liberty disguise themselves, masquerading as Mohawk Indians. But even in an open act of rebellion, they're careful to show restraint.
Come on, man. We're gonna turn Boston Harbor into a teapot.
In contrast to earlier acts of the Sons of Liberty, there's a certain, yes, theatricality to this, but a certain order and a certain calmness, where there's deliberate action and a sense of control.
The Tea Party is a brazen act of defiance, but not just against the tea tax. Compounding the issue is a government bailout of the East India Company, a British importer considered too big to fail. The Sons of Liberty are strongly opposed to the bailout and to the monopoly it creates. But contrary to legend, the Tea Party is not violent. No one is hurt during the event, and the one lock they break is replaced. The only lasting harm is the loss of the tea, about $2 million worth in today's money.
For the British, this was vandalism of the worst sort. And it was something that the British government could not simply abide.
They pass very quickly a number of acts that will come to be known in the colonies as the Coercive Acts. The worst of which are the complete and total blockade of Boston. Boston is essentially not only cut off from its economy, but it's cut off from the other colonies.
The British declare Marblehead the new point of entry, and Salem the new capital. Boston is powerless, and the threat of starvation is real. Martial law now rules the city.
John.
The Redcoats are on the offensive, provoking those suspected of treason, and anyone they might find guilty, even if only by association.
Where are we off to then?
Gentlemen, if you will excuse us, we have an engagement.
You may have been Captain Preston's true friend here in Boston, but you're no friend of General Gage, nor any other man in His Majesty's army.
Abigail. You hurt?
There was quite a bit of escalating intimidation on a daily basis from the British soldiers. So John Adams starts to become more radicalized as he sees that begin to impinge on everybody's personal liberty.
Have you heard the news from Rhode Island? A band of rebels seized a British merchant vessel and burned it to the waterline.
What you call rebels, sir, are merely free men whose livelihoods have been endangered by England's policies. This act will destroy our entire economy, reduce us to living off the land. The authority to do that to an entire race of people without the basic right to a dissenting voice is little more than tyranny, sir. There is no more justice left in Britain than there is in hell. This is what we Americans think of your Tea Act.
After years of resisting the urge to rebel, John Adams wholeheartedly joins the fight for independence. The revolution now has its spokesman.
He becomes radicalized in his own quiet way and will emerge as the largest and certainly the loudest voice for independence